cases Kiwi music, but in this case we also have independent music from Belgium. So we've got Troubled Notes in the green room as well as Davy Beach, if I've said that right. We're going to start off with the Troubled Notes. Now Bennett is part of that group. He's the violinist from Troubled Notes, an internationally acclaimed world folk band from Berlin, Germany. So we're lucky to have him join us today. So we might actually start off with their first track called Catalonia Calling. Keep it locked. KiwiRadio.nz. First up, we're very lucky to have the Trouble Notes joining us all the way from Belgium, and I'm glad to be introducing these sounds to our New Zealand audience. Welcome to the show there, Bennett. Hope you're doing well today.
Hey, man, I'm doing fine.
How is Belgium today?
Little overcast, but it's early enough now where I think the day is going to shape well. It was a bit rainy yesterday, but things are good, yeah?
Excellent. Well, excellent riffs there on the violin. How long have you been playing that instrument for?
Wow, yeah. Approximately 29 years.
Okay. I won't ask how old you are, but you've been probably playing since you fell out of the womb because you look no older than 29. Now, on your website,
I love you.
It's always smart to throw in the odd compliment here and there to warm up your guests. But anyways, on your website, there are two other handsome gentlemen on your bio picture. What is it that they do as part of the Trouble Notes?
Yeah, so mostly we're a trio, although we do some shows with kind of like a little bit more of an extended crew, if you will, but the core of the group is, myself playing stringed instruments, so it's violin, some special types of violins, and also a few like bass instruments, and then Florian is the guitarist. So on that photo that you're looking at right now, the man with the very sexy looking mustache, he plays any like guitar, so electric acoustic guitar, and also banjo and mandolin. And then Oliver is the percussionist. So the guy in the middle that looks like he just left the set of Peaky Blinders. Yeah, he's the percussion boy. And Florian on the right is from Germany. Oliver in the middle is from the UK. He's from London. And that handsome devil on the left is me. And I was actually born in Chicago.
You were born in Chicago, but now in Belgium. Yeah. Interesting. And if you're wondering if you're listening to the podcast replay and can only hear us on audio, you can check out all the photos at thetroublenotes.com. Now, usually there, Bennett, I ask our musicians what the lyrics are about, but there was none in that first one. It's all instrumental. Do we expect instrumental for the other two songs we're showcasing today, or will there be someone singing?
Actually, that is correct. So our group is mostly instrumental. We do have a few songs, especially in our older repertoire, that had lyrics, and then now we have a new album that we've just produced that also kind of revisits some of that route. So some of the songs have vocal parts and text, but for the most part, we've been known for the last 7 years as a predominantly instrumental band.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I find instrumental music, in this case, the violin tells us all. So can you give us a little bit of background, though, on the next song called Grand Masquerade? When did you write this song? And that's such a larger-than-life title as well. Was it inspired by something quite grand? Tell us about the next track, which I'm about to play.
Yes. So the Grand Masquerade is a song that we wrote in Berlin. And, that's the city where we reside. I guess we call it home. And we've been doing so since 2014, basically, the beginning of 2014. And it was written right at the beginning of our arrival there. And mainly, the song actually has a very powerful story. So it's about kind of when you first arrive in Berlin. I don't know, Ralph, if you've ever been in Berlin, but when you first arrive in Berlin, right now it's an extremely creative city. It's one of the startup capitals of the world. There's a lot of people, artists and creative minds that are moving there and that are building their lives there. And as a result, there's this awesome spirit that you feel when you first go into the city. But there's also, obvious for historical reasons, a very dark side to Berlin as well. And it was that dark side, that pain that you could feel, that we wanted to kind of explore. And so we feel that it kind of came, of course, from and that were running in parallel with each side of the wall. People were looking at the other and saying, "My life is right, yours is wrong." And so, what social conditioning are to see things in their own society, right? Or they feel that they are different somehow than they're, but they feel that they're not allowed to see things because of the fact that, you know, the community spirit at that time don't don't try actually meant your life. And so as a result, people started to put on masks. That still exists today in almost every society. Something about you, maybe it could be your sexual preference, or it could be a belief you have, or whatever it is, but you feel that you really don't have the right to say what you want to say for fear of what your family or your vision or whatever it might be, how they affect you. And so you kind of bottle it up and you hide it. And so the song is a little emotionally, as you're deciding, you'll sort of rip this mask off and reveal your big secret, or if you will sort of forever walk around in a mask of conformity. And yeah, that's the story behind the song. It's called The Grand Masquerade.
And straight away, when I walked out of my hotel room, like you said, the creativity. I remember walking out of my hotel at night, coming across like maybe 3 or 4 different buskers in one place. I don't know, I was just in the right place at the right time. But do you find that there is that it's just bursting at all seams in every corner?
I mean, there's actually, as a musician, as a creative, I think it's a fantastic place. There's opportunities, of course. On the other side, very saturated. So a lot of artists that go there, they really, like us, for example. I'm calling you from Belgium, so I don't stay in Berlin for very long periods of time. Like, we're a touring band, we go make long tours, and that's really how we survive and earn our money. Because there is such competition in Berlin that it's also, a lot of artists basically find work outside. So they stay in the city for the creativity, or they play a few shows per year or whatever to kind of keep their Berlin audience and their friends happy. But then, of course, like they move outside. So I think that's really the challenge, is exactly what you're saying, that, there's so many buskers, there's so many performers, there's so many of this and that it does, it also becomes a little bit of like a fight always to find work, And so a lot of musicians go there, they inspire each other, they come together, they work on collective projects, and then during the summer, everybody kind of leaves, and then the migrating musicians come in for the summer and play. So it has a very healthy life and economy as a artist. I think Berlin is great.
Well, again, we thank you for your time visiting us virtually here in New Zealand, a small little island in the middle of nowhere. So hopefully we can import some of that sound into our audience. So speaking of music, let's just get straight into it, because we've got a chocker full of songs to go through today. So this is the Trouble Notes, Grand Masquerade. You tuned into kiwiradio.nz. We're also streaming today on upfm.co.nz simulcast. Who says men can't multitask? That is the sound of the Trouble Notes. We are simulcasting on two different radio stations today, kiwiradio.nz. We've also just bought kiwiradio.co.nz. That station specializes in Kiwi and indie music. We're also simulcasting on upfm.co.nz. That is our specialized electronica, trance, techno kind of station that streams that kind of music 24/7. And the reason why I mentioned Up FM is that's actually a great fit for that station because, there were elements of almost trance in that song. I was getting pretty excited because it's nothing that I've personally ever heard. So I was going to ask you there, Bennett, with this type of music, what does a typical gig or venue setting look like for your music genre?
Well, that's a good question, man. Pre-pandemic, we were we were doing two different types of shows. Yeah, so one was I guess you would call them, like rock clubs or performance pop rock clubs. Yeah. So this would be your typical venue cap between 300 and 500, and with a lot of dance space so that people could really boogie and get down. And we were doing a lot of performances like that. But then also we have a different type of show that we do in a theater space as well, where it's like very story based. and we get very animated, and we kind of tell like there's a dramaturgy behind a lot of the songs, and so we really try to paint a picture of what you're listening to before we play. And that might have, for example, a slightly stripped back electronic and more acoustic version, so to speak, because all of these songs can be played both in a very built up, let's party way, and also in a more stripped back, acoustic version, almost like a street music style, which is definitely something that we're accustomed to.
Because listening to this sort of music, again, it's not something I've heard. This type of music, it's got that kind of old school, not old world kind of sound mixed with electronics almost. It's nothing I've personally heard. I'm quite excited by it, actually. And here in New Zealand, we've got quite a sort of, I guess, circus kind of, like a lot of people have circus as a hobby. And I could almost see that in a circus setting, whether it's someone doing a bit of lyre or something. It's really quite beautiful and emotional and progressive, quite cool, actually. So I'm really excited by that. Perhaps that's when you say dramatic, when maybe let me know when you have that type of gig. I'd love to just book my flight to Belgium just to watch something like that. What's kind of been the general response from your audiences with this type of music?
Well, yeah, we definitely, I mean, we have a pretty nice connection with our audience. Yeah. So I think, and it comes, obviously, it's funny you mentioned busking in Berlin. I mean, that's really, we started as a busking band. And so obviously there were no electronic elements. It was really, violin, guitar, drums, boom. And the drummer was playing mostly cajon and a few hand drums. And we busked our way around. Well, I wouldn't say the world, but at least 3 continents.
Wow.
And
which
that was kind of the beginning of our,
which continents were they?
North America,
Wow.
Europe, obviously, and we did a bit in South America as well. And we, yeah. And
Awesome.
and that's the point. It's like a lot of these songs, they kind of fit they've taken travel as a main theme, so like everywhere that we've gone, we try to write new melodies, or we try to change the songs a little bit to connect more with the local people that are there. Yeah,
for sure.
And so I think with that, our music has kind of been able to grab a very wide audience. We have, people, we say we have, from 3 to 93. So it's basically like we can play for a much older audience, which we happen to do sometimes.
Yeah.
Or we can play for a very young audience, which in my opinion, that circus kind of thing that you're hinting at works. And then of course, like an audience that are more our age, 20s, 30s.
Cool.
We do really well with them too, but that's when we get a little bit more modern and dancey.
That's cool.
And so we adapt our sound for who we're playing to.
That's very good. That's a good strategy, and I love how you've mentioned that. Being adapt to your surroundings, being versatile as a trio. That's amazing. I actually really keen to see you live. And one of the other best violin players that I've discovered as a lover of all things music was my time in Sydney. There was a busker band, like you mentioned, called Set Sail. So they were doing a really good cover and rendition of Bittersweet Symphony on violin. And that got me intrigued. That got me listening to the rest of their discography and found that they had albums worth of original music as well. And I never would have found this band unless I saw them busking. So definitely another avenue and tool that you can put in your tool belt as a musician. So very excited about your music. What's next for you in terms of this project and this music sound? What's next for this group?
Brilliant. So we, at the start of this year, we got into the studio and we recorded our second studio album. We did it here in Belgium. So we were given a residency at a conservatory of about 5 weeks in a small city in the south, the southwest of Belgium called Kortrijk. And we put together a second album, and we're very, very proud of it. It's called Liberty Awaits, and it's going to come out in the fall. In fact, we already just launched about earlier this month. We launched a pre-sale for the album, and so far there's been quite a lot of interest, which we're extremely happy about. In fact, I will post for you in the chat, if you want to share it with everybody, a link. It's basically through our Bandcamp that we're doing it. Where are you, mate? Sorry for the delay.
Yeah, no, definitely. Here it is. Here, the troublenotesbandcamp.com/album/liberty -awaits, or just check out.
-awaits.
Yeah.
Or actually, I recall now it's easier. Actually, also you can get to it through our website, which is the troublenotes.com/liberty awaits. One word, liberty awaits.
Nice.
And yeah, the album is, we think it's the best thing that we've ever done.
That's awesome.
We're very proud of it. It's somewhere between what you just heard, which in my opinion is very produced and polished, and something very raw and live. It's kind of sitting in between them. So I think it really captures the spirit of our group, because the sound is very polished and professional and mature, but at the same time, there's an element of, hey, this band is sitting in my room playing for me this song right now.
I love that.
And I think that was really something that we wanted to capture, because we believe that really our bread and butter, the thing that we're good at, is performing live, that busker history, that adaptability, that's all the things. And so we wanted to really try to get that out in the album. And we feel that we pretty successfully did that. And the stories on the album of all the songs are really beautiful. They're mainly telling stories of migration and people with migrated to new places and done really beautiful things.
I love that.
And people that we encountered along the way, because much like myself, I'm also a migrant in Europe. I came from the US and I moved here, and so as I contribute with my art to the culture of Europe, and I wanted to tell that story of others. So there's songs about people coming from Mexico or from South America. There's songs about people who are coming from North Africa, the Middle East, and so every song has kind of a flavor, of kind of transatlantic or trans-Pacific movement and linking cultures. So it's really a beautiful album. We're very happy with it. It has some text as well on some of the songs, so that we brought the vocals back. We collaborated with an Ecuadorian singer. Her name is Carola Zerega. She is absolutely phenomenal. She has a voice that is otherworldly, and so she features on a few songs as well. And yeah, it's a beautiful album. We're really excited to share it with everybody later this year.
That's awesome. Well, I'm very excited for you. You'll have to get your management, who I originally got in contact with, to send me any press releases, and we'll be happy to plug them to our New Zealand audience. Bennett, I want to thank you again. I want to thank you again for being with us. I want to thank you again for being with us, and I wish you all the best with this project. We're going to conclude now for your part of the showcase with your final song called Boda. Thanks for being with us and our New Zealand audience today.
Thank you very much, Ralph. I appreciate it. And hello to everybody in New Zealand. Someday we're coming to you, I promise.
Oh, don't get me too excited. Don't get me too excited.
We've always wanted to, man. And I actually have I have a few good friends, musical friends there. Maybe you know one of them. She's a pretty prominent MC. Her name is Tali.
Oh, wow. MC Tali for the drum and bass scene?
Yeah.
Wow, she was big.
Together on some stuff in Berlin. She's a good friend, she's always told me if you ever want to come over, she can help. We have a few other friends as well, so we'll try to make it work. Yeah.
That's amazing. What a connection, hey? That's really great.
Yeah.
Bennett,
that's
and
Berlin.
If you're also in Australia, I often frequently, well, this is pre-pandemic, fly to Sydney because I have a lot of family there. So even if you don't get quite to New Zealand, but you're in Australia, please let me know. So that's I will do that. We're going to try to make it work in 2022.
2024. That's the plan. Yeah.
Well, I hope you have your mailing list segmented to the different territories around the world. So if you're ever in Australia or New Zealand, definitely add me to that section of your mailing list. Thank you again, Bennett.
I'll do it, mate.
Thank you again for being with us, and I hope this won't be the last time. Just send me any press releases via email, and this is your song, Boda. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Ralph. I appreciate your time, man.
Thanks, Bennett. Kia ora. And that is our international guest for today. What a champ. Very beautiful, dramatic instrumental music. TheTroubleNotes.com. Check it out. Beautiful. TheTroubleNotes.com. Round of applause to Bennett. Thanks for joining us all the way from Belgium. On the phone line now is Davey Beach. Hopefully I'm saying that right. He's a New Zealand singer, songwriter who performs original folk, blues, rock, and electro rock music. If you check out his website, davybeige.co.nz, that's Bravo Echo India Golf Echo, go check it out. He's got a brand new single, Rise Above, which we'll play later on. It's out on all platforms, and it's about to drop next month actually, but we've got a bit of a sneak peek on our little podcast here. So Davey, welcome to the show first of all, and glad to have you here.
Oh, thanks very much. It's been great to be with you tonight. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And so tell us a little bit about you as a musician. Where has your journey begun, and where are you now?
Yeah, my journey started a long time ago, actually about 40 years ago. I picked up a guitar. So I've been playing for a long time, and been playing in various bands, making a living out of music. And then back in the 90s in Auckland, I lived in Auckland, and I played in a band that was quite popular for quite a few years called the Peter Stuyvesant Hit List. And through being that band is where I gained my stage name, Davy Beige. And that band eventually broke up, as bands do. And then I decided to keep writing and releasing music. And I just felt natural to keep my stage name, Davy Beige. And I've always loved the blues and folk. And so over the years, I've released just coming up to 2 EPs and 2 albums. And I moved to Tauranga about 10 years ago, just over 10 years ago, and been performing music, my whole life really. Guitar, blues has really got me into everything, and I'm really excited to be releasing my next EP for New Zealand Music Month, which is coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tauranga, is that your hometown right now?
That's my hometown right now. That's where I am now. Cool. So, no, I'm not moving anywhere from Europe, not like Bennett.
We definitely, I would say 80% of our guests are New Zealand, but every now and then we do have a couple of international guests. We had Megan Burt all the way from Colorado. We had a couple of people from Britain, Belgium. So yeah, just a bit of everything. But as you can tell from the radio station name, kiwiradio.nz, we do try and be Kiwi and local. I'm right now in Auckland, so from Auckland to Tauranga, kia ora to you.
Yeah.
I have one of my best friends actually moved to Tauranga, and you guys have the best kind of water kind of activities that you can do there. So I really have good memories of Tauranga, definitely, for sure. Yep.
Sorry. Yeah, it has been a great move. I moved because I've got a younger family and all those sorts of things. So it's been really cool.
Awesome. Well, let's open up your discography now. The first track is called Back Road to Vegas. Firstly, have you been to Vegas?
Yes, I grew up there.
Wow.
Not Vegas, America. But the thing about this is I grew up in Rotorua, and one of the nicknames for Rotorua is Vegas. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, Roto Vegas.
Yeah. So I've been to both Vegases, and they're kind of both fun.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, welcome to the show. Let's get straight to the music, and I'll ask you more questions straight afterwards. How you tuned into kiwiradio.nz. This is Davy Beige. I'm glad I was saying it right as well, so very happy with that. Great start. Let's go.
Shotgun blast, full moon sky, pine tree cliffs, south shine high, 1-lane bridge, dirt wheels fly, driving back road to Vegas. Greenstone key, horse-drawn cut, hairpin fans, gate lock shut, old track saved, bushman's hut, driving back road to Vegas. The new highway's no good. good, then you always look good. Strip it down to the wood, strip it down to the wood, then you always look good. Strip it down. Hometown hills, farm dog lake, Gold Coast view, Flatfoot straight, quick glance left, red light spray, driving back road to Vegas. Driving back road to Vegas. 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 Vegas.
Oh yeah,
Vegas.
I love this sort of music.
Vegas. Vegas.
Davey Beach, firstly, what a track. What a track. How are you not famous? This is amazing. Very timeless.
Oh, thank you.
Are you famous, especially in America? Because sometimes we get musicians like that are like really low key in New Zealand, but quite big elsewhere.
I have had a little bit of success through Spotify, because Spotify you can sort of see where songs are being listened to. But no, I can't say like I've got thousands of fans somewhere in some part of America. But I am a roots sort of musician player, so wherever I do play, when I go out and perform, it generally always goes really well, and it's very much a live music's a live performance, so it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna do great places. So I'm gonna start gigging again next month, hopefully, if things remain open or whatever. But one of my clients is the Auckland Mama Markets, and that kind of music is a great match. So next time you see me at the next Auckland Mama Markets, I might be spinning some Davey Beach, especially that track Back Road to Vegas.
Awesome.
Congratulations. Yeah, I'm gonna. You might walk into a random market and hear your own music. How's that sound? Now, next track is called Watching the Waves. Are you much of a surfer?
No, I've always wanted to be, but I've always sucked when I've gotten out there on the waves. I'm never that fit enough to sort of catch them. I wish I was better, but Watching the Waves was sort of inspired by actually moving to Tauranga, but also for quite a few years I've studied meditation. And so it's very much a song around watching the waves, watching your thoughts,
Okay, well, let's play the music. And you're tuned into KiwiRadio.nz. Thank you again, Davey, for joining us today. Davey Beach. It's a name to remember.
Moment to moment, I've got a mindful mind. Thoughts and feelings starting to unwind. Watching the waves, watching the waves. Watching the waves, watching the waves. Watching the waves, watching the waves crash over me. Daring to sit in an empty room, realizing words are just fingers pointing at the moon. Watching the waves, watching the waves. Watching the waves, watching the waves. Watching the waves, watching the waves crash over me. Like a river flows, I can be free. All I have to do is be. Moments like this now, my pen hits the page. The present is here, like a timeless sage. Watching the waves, watching the waves. Watching the waves, watching the waves. Watching the waves, watching the waves. Crash on me. Watching the waves, watching the waves. Watching the waves, watching the waves. Watching the waves, watching the waves.
Watching the Waves with Kiwi musician Davey Beach, joining us from Tauranga. Make sure you're also watching the airwaves at kiwiradio.nz. We've got a bunch more guests in the next couple of weeks. Just going to rattle off a couple of those guests now. So that's Tony Parker, NESC is back. Street George's really timeless classic music there. Luke Hurley will be back on the podcast. Fiona Ross from the UK will be joining us. Parabola West, Luna Vella, Gina October, a really cool rapper that their management sent me a couple of exclusives. Mars Lewis, Gavin Kennedy, Bundy Lord, David Kirby, Justin Sharp, Nigel Perry, Smart Parks from South Africa, Jackson Floor 5, Vera Ellen, and a bunch more. I could go on for hours. So that's every week, Tuesdays, 7 p.m. in New Zealand time. But today we're graced by the sound that is Davey Beach. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for letting me do that quick plug. Now, you've got a new single, which we'll play for you now, Rise Above. It's now out on all platforms, so go check it out, daveybeach.co.nz. Are you excited about this EP?
Oh, yeah.
Can I tell you a little connection? Now, I'm just looking at the credentials here. You've got a producer and musician on this called Zed Brooks. Now, Zed Brooks was my tutor at Mains. So there's a little connection there.
There you go. Well, I actually taught at Mains as well. So,
did you?
Ooh, spooky. Yeah.
Davey. Yeah.
Yeah. Zed and I go way back. He recorded my first band back in about 1987. So it's been really cool to work again on this EP.
And I got to give it to the legends of our local musician. 1987, I would have been about 4 years old. So you were doing it before I had diapers, and it definitely shows in your music. Again, I have to say that first song, particularly, that first song really got me good. I think that's a timeless. And if you're ever going to do a music video, if you haven't already done so, I think that's the one to plug. That second one was equally lovely as well. So on to your third and final. Tell us a little bit more about what you're going to do next as Davey Beach.
Yeah, so, well, I'm really looking forward to getting the EP out, and this has just been the lead single, and I've put together a pretty cool video as well, a stop motion video, with the help of a fantastic filmmaker in Hamilton, Aaron Christensen. And so I'm really just putting the EP out. There's some reviews coming out on it soon. You know, it's going to be only a week and a half away. And like you, I've just been waiting for. I played a gig in February, and that went really well. But just waiting for COVID to sort of hopefully pull back a bit more, and live shows feel a little bit more solid, which they already are, I think. And just go out and play live. Really, I love playing live. And the songs I write, they breathe when I'm with a band and playing for an audience. So I can play a few blues riffs and things. So just look out for me playing live around probably just the North Island really at the moment, but
sure.
Around about New Zealand.
And when you have those live dates ready, Davey, there are two options. You could go to kiwiradio.nz and actually record a 30-second sting which we play as an advert every now and then. We think we do adverts every 30 minutes or something. So that's one option. And the other option is just to add me to your mailing list. So when you've got a tour guide or a gig guide, just message to me and I will basically plug it every Tuesday. So we'll plug it at sort of like the nearest date to that gig that you're going to do. So very excited. Thank you for joining us today. That about wraps up the show. Any final closing statements?
Oh, I just want to thank you for having me on the show. It's just great the support you're showing for music. And just check out my EP, everyone. It's on all platforms. It will be coming out 6th of May. I think it's some of my strongest music. And if you enjoy it, let me know. Get in touch with me through Facebook. But thanks very much, Ralph, for having me.
Thanks for being with us. It's very exciting. May Music Month in New Zealand is a month that we celebrate all things local, all things New Zealand music. And that's definitely a great time to release your brand new record. So congratulations, first of all. And we hope to hear more from you. Wish you all the best. And remember to stay cool and stay creative. Thanks so much for joining us in today's podcast.
Yeah.
And here we go. This is Rise Above, the closing track for today's episode. We want to thank all our... Thank you, Davey.
When the light starts to fade and shadows fall, how cool am I? How tough? When the cards I've been playing aren't enough, can I let love lift me and rise above? Can I let love lift me and rise above? How big am I? How strong? When the silence in the night goes on too long, how good am I? How wise? Can I see beyond the secrets and the lies? Can I let love lift me and rise above? Can I let love lift me and rise above? Gotta let it in, gotta let it in, oh, gotta let it in, right now, right now. Can I let love lift me and rise above? Can I let love lift me and rise above? Gotta let it in, gotta let it in, rise above right now, rise above. Gotta let it in, gotta let it in. Can I let love lift me and rise above?
And that is the show for today. We love all things Kiwi and indie, and what a show today. It's been fabulous. It's been absolutely fabulous. Thank you again for our audience for tuning in every week, Tuesdays, 7 p.m. live to showcase such wonderful talent. I want to thank, again, Davey Beach for being on the show and the Trouble Notes as well earlier. You can download all our podcasts as an MP3 replay if you are on the go, or if you've missed the live feed, head over to kiwiradio.nz. There'll be some MP3 downloads available on the front page for a limited time. Thank you again, and that is the show for today. I've been your host, Ralphie. Background music there is my own tune on Bandcamp, ralphie.bandcamp.com. RALPHE. And yeah, enough of that about that plug. Thank you again for being on today's show. Cheers. Remember to stay cool and stay creative. Oh yeah. Give it up.